the pain like I'm Nagato. Got no father like I'm Naruto. Keep the blade on me, Ichigo. Who really wanna go toe for toe? GTR from Tokyo. Diamonds whipping up on the stove. Lucky man like a 4-leaf clove. Diamonds wanna go and visit.
Hello everyone, my name is Nagato and welcome back to my channel. For today's tutorial, I'm basically going to be showcasing you guys on how to successfully install PlayStation 1 development games or unreleased games, or prototype PlayStation 1 games, or even little tests like E3 demos and stuff like that onto your modded PlayStation 3. Like I like to state in all my videos, the prerequisites, you basically need a modded PlayStation 3 that is on either 4.84 REBUG, that's either on CEX or DEX. It doesn't really matter what custom firmware, as long as you can basically install ISO successfully and using another program right here, which you also need, called Multiman. This is the latest version. I know this is not a version for 4.84 yet, but as of right now, this version does work with this method. And of course, you will need your game itself, and also you need a flash drive that is either formatted to FAT32. And also you could do this method using Webman mod as well to mount the game, and FileZilla to transfer over the files, but in this method I'm just going to be using my USB and Multiman. But if you just follow along and go to the same directories on where to dump your game at, it's literally the same process, so it shouldn't be too hard to figure out. But with that being said, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and dump your Multiman game into your USB. So go ahead and plug in your USB into your PC, go into your USB drive, and before you move the game over, make sure your USB drive is on FAT32. So go ahead and right click, go to properties, and then under file system, look to see if it says FAT32. If your system says like NTFS or exFAT, what you want to do is go ahead and cancel. Go ahead from right click again all the way to format, and then under the second option called file system, if you look under exFAT or NTFS, go ahead and switch to FAT32 for allocation unit size. You can either keep what the USB is stating as of right now, or go to default allocation size. It really doesn't matter. And then what you want to do is go ahead and click this button right here that says quick format, and basically go ahead and hit start. But before you hit OK, guys, what you want to do is to back up all your data if you have something on your flash drive, because anytime when you reformat a USB drive, a HDD or SSD, most of the time it will lose all your data on that drive. So it's very important that you back it up before you're doing this process, unless you have a clean flash drive that has no files on it. Then you could just go ahead and hit OK. But once you do that, go ahead and copy over your Multiman file PKG. Already had it on there, but it doesn't matter, just let it do its thing. And then now we're going to talk more about the game itself. So a lot of developer builds on PlayStation 1 or unreleased games, they may have weird formats and they not be ISO files or bins, or they may not even have bin queues. It's very easy to convert with bin and .qs, and it's also as easy to convert .img files. So what you want to do now, if your thing is not in a .iso format, what you want to do is very simple. Let's go ahead and right click over the game itself, rename, and then just rename it to an ISO. Now this method may not work with a ton of games as well. It's kind of like a hit or miss thing, especially with unreleased and developer builds of any game. When I try to run them, if you watch my series before, I try to take PlayStation 2 games and convert them into PKGs to run on a PS4, and I try to do that for PS3. It all depends if the game is compatible or not, especially when it's an early build of the game. It's kind of like just to see if it runs or if things boot up. Sometimes the textures are missing in a lot of these games, and since they're early prototypes, they're not the final build, so you can run into a lot of bugs while installing it. But once you have that done and you renamed your game, what you want to do is go ahead back onto USB drive, and then you could just put the game anywhere on your flash drive, and then we're going to just copy and paste via Multiman. So at this point, what you want to do, once the thing has copied over, go ahead and successfully eject the thing safely from your PC, go to your PlayStation 3, and what we're going to do from there is go ahead and install Multiman, and then also your PlayStation 1 game. So I'll meet you guys there once that process is done. Okay, so once you guys are back onto your PlayStation 3 that has your USB inside one of your USB slots, what you want to do is go ahead to Package Manager, scroll all the way down to the Games column in your XMB, and then from there go to the second option called Install Package Files, and then you want to go to the third option called Standard, and then you should see all your PKG files. In this case, go ahead and click X over the Multiman one. I'm going to skip that step just to make this video a little bit quicker since I've already installed it. If it's your very first time installing Multiman, you may get 4 screens that states like the terms of service and how to use this program and all that good stuff. And then basically it'll boot you into the Multiman GUI. So once it's on your XMB, as seen here, go ahead and boot up Multiman itself. Okay, so once you basically are back into the Multiman GUI and you see an XMB, what you want to go to, scroll all the way over to your left using your D-pad or analog stick to File Manager / Multiman Operating System. And now what you want to do is go to PS3 root, and then what you want to do from here is scroll all the way down to dev_USB00. Yours may say dev_USB001 or 002. That's also fine as long as you can see all your contents on your USB. That means you're on the right path. But now what you want to do is go ahead and go to wherever your PlayStation 1 game is. In this case, this is Crash Bandicoot, and then go ahead and hit circle and then copy over your game, and then you can X this out, because now what we're going to do is put it in a certain directory folder so the PlayStation 3 will know where to mount it from. So where we want to go is to dev_std0, aka your hard drive. Scroll all the way down till you see PSX ISO, and then what you want to do is go ahead and hit circle again and then paste over it. So in this case, I already pasted mine over it a little bit earlier just to test if this build won't run from the video. But once your file has copied over successfully, depending on file size, it may take a little bit of time, but usually PlayStation 1 games shouldn't be that big in general. What you want to do now is go ahead and go to your games column, go ahead and refresh, and by doing that you could just hit R1 out of Multiman operating system to get back to this menu, and then you should see your Crash or whatever game you have, or your PlayStation 1 development game. Now what you want to do is go ahead and hit X on the game and then basically boot back out to your XMB. So once we're back onto your XMB, the game will successfully mount, and then you could see your PlayStation Dev Build or Unreleased title run in real time. So now that we're back onto our XMB, as you see here, we get this little thing that's called PlayStation format disk. So it's acting like we have an actual PlayStation 1 disk mounted onto our system, even though we really don't. All you would have to do is just go ahead and click X and then basically run it just like any normal PlayStation 1 game. And as you see here, guys, this is the PlayStation game booting up in real time. And if I hold down the PlayStation 3 button, you can still tell that I'm on a PS3. If you hold your PlayStation 3 button in about like 2 or 3 seconds, what you could do now is go ahead and go into other settings. You can enable full screen and also smoothing. And as you see here, this is a very early build of Crash Bandicoot, and it may look kind of a little wonky on the screen and not like the typical, classic Crash Bandicoot menu. And that's basically how you successfully run Crash Bandicoot, or excuse me, PlayStation 1 games on, or PlayStation 1 Unreleased or Dev Build games to your system. And as you see, this is booting into real time. And yeah, with that being said, if you guys do like my content and you want to show some love, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. I will be doing a quick showcase and an overview on this game as well on my channel, and probably a little more about other PlayStation 1 Unreleased or Dev Build games using my PS3. But with that being said, my name is Nagato and I'm signing out. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all.